hope you are all doing well. In today's presentation, we are going to discuss naturalism as a literary movement and naturalism according to the French writer Émile Zola. But before we get to that, it is necessary to note that naturalism as a literary movement emerged as, let's say, a response to the 19th century realism. It came in succession of realism in order to emphasize observation and the scientific method in the fictional portrayal of reality. Among the leading figures of naturalism who invoked, let's say, naturalists who invoked the naturalistic approach in literature is none other than Émile Zola. Yes, Émile Zola, the father of naturalism in France. It is conspicuous that the novels of Émile Zola move toward a more extreme form of realism, known as the allegedly scientific impulse to base its characters, events, and even explanations in a natural rather than supernatural, divine, or metaphysical causes. Zola makes it clear at the outset that the inspiration and foundation of his arguments was Claude Bernard's essay L'introduction à l'étude de la médecine expérimentale, which endeavors to show that medicine has a scientific basis, namely the experimental method. He wishes to extend Bernard's argument specifically to the realm of the novel, thereby situating fiction and literature within the overall direction of scientific advance. Where Bernard aims to extend scientific study into the realm of physiology and medicine, Zola desires to extend it even further into the realm of the passionate and the intellectual life. Zola sees the experiment novel as freeing the literary genre from the, let's say, atmosphere of lies and errors in which it is plunged. In this respect, Zola says this is what constitutes the experimental novel: to possess a knowledge of the mechanism of the phenomena inherent in man, to show the machinery of his intellectual and sensory manifestations under the influence of heredity and environment, such as physiology shall give them to us, and then finally to let's say, to exhibit man living in social conditions produced by himself, which he modifies daily, and in the heart of which he himself experiences a continual transformation. So yes, indeed, Zola here effectively sees idealistic novels in particular as morally harmful, as implicitly destructive, that leads to a cataclysmic result to the man's mental or moral health. Let's say these idealistic novels are operating under the perilous desire to remain in the unknown. That's what Zola argues, to remain in the unknown through all sorts of religious and philosophical prejudices under the astounding, let's say, perverse, that the unknown is nobler, the unknown is peaceful, the unknown is truth, and more beautiful than the known. Zola strictly denies this, strictly disagrees. For instance, let's take as an example people in ancient times. Let's say let's take Greek mythology as an example. For instance, Greek in ancient times used to believe whenever an earthquake occurs, whenever there is, let's say for example, a tsunami or a natural catastrophe, catastrophe, they say that the gods are angry. They relate it to one of the gods. For example, when there is a tsunami, they say Poseidon is angry, for instance. Whereas there is like a scientific and a scientific explanation to that. There's a scientific and a natural explanation to that, which is, for instance, an earthquake that just occurs in the depths of the seas, and it just resulted in a tsunami. People in ancient times didn't think that way. They were like strictly and firmly related to religion and metaphysical beliefs and so on and so forth. So here Zola is trying to emphasize on the experimental, on the natural, on the scientific aspects, rather than the supernatural and the divine aspects in literature, more specifically. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video.